Welcome back to the King Closer Reacts. Today we're finding out if my buddy King Khang is a closer. Khang is one of the nicest guys in this industry, truly like humble to his core. He's put out a ton of videos about closing deals. I did a live with him. I got to see him talk to a couple of sellers, but I didn't see him close a deal. Now, on this one, this is posted on his YouTube channel. I think he closes a deal, so we're going to see how he navigates that. And at the end, I'm going to make my assessment on if I think King Khang is a closer or not. Let's get into it. Let's see what you got, Khang.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Good evening. This is Khang. Is this Robert?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Robert. This is Khang. So I'm actually one of the purchase managers. Supposed to call you back regarding your property today that we're supposed to make you an offer on.
All right. So he's a property manager. Okay. So I don't necessarily like that, coming out of the gates, kind of potentially taking away a power position. Curious how that sets up, how he's going to navigate the rest of this. Feels like right out of the gates, he's probably setting himself up for he's going to be an advocate for the seller, and then there's going to be a bad guy behind the scenes that's making the low offer. Also, he came right out of the gates, said, I'm making an offer. I think it's because this is a cold call follow-up. So interested to see how he navigates that from the perspective if he's able to get a number out of the seller, or if he's just going to come out with the offer.
Located at 1406. Okay, great. And Robert, am I catching a good time right now?
Yeah, we can talk.
Okay.
All right. So this was a big point of contention during the first and second Closers Olympics. Everyone did I probably caught you at a bad time from Sandler Sales Training. He asked, did I catch you at a good time? I don't necessarily love asking that. You're kind of giving the seller the out of like, no, you didn't catch me at a good time. And then them saying, hey, I got to get off the phone, because you just gave it to them. You already got them on the phone. I just always assume, hey, you answered the phone, we're ready to talk. I'd rather just leave that out. But that was a huge thing a couple of years ago where everyone was asking either did I catch you at a good time or I probably caught you at a bad time from Sandler Sales Training.
Great. How is your Martin Luther King Monday going so far?
Oh, it's going good.
Are you staying warm? It's chilly outside.
Yeah. Yeah, you bet.
Okay, good.
So going for rapport early, right? Again, I always say this. Rapport is irrelevant, right? Did that really move the needle right there in this conversation? How you doing on this Martin Luther King Monday? Are you staying warm? It's chilly outside. I don't know this guy, especially the way he sounds, kind of reminds me of potentially a tired landlord. The way he's just talking, kind of a direct, male seller. I don't necessarily know if we need to be asking him useless questions like, did I catch you at a good time? How are you doing on Martin Luther King Day? Are you warm? It's chilly outside. Seems like that could kind of piss him off a little bit. So something I always think about, I always want to mirror kind of the sellers. What's the best word? Kind of their body language through the phone, I guess is the best way to put it, and mirror kind of their attitude. And I don't know if Khang did it right there, but it also feels like this is very natural to him, and this is how he probably handles all of his calls.
So basically, Robert, once again, I'm one of the purchase managers, so I'm going to go over all the information, make sure we have on your property is correct. I know you chat one for a gal. So I want to make sure everything is correct, and then I'll be able to kind of share with you where we're at in price. And hopefully together we can come to an agreement on a fair price that work for you and work for us and be able to move forward to buy your property today, okay?
Okay.
Fantastic.
So right there, I like that part. Laid out the expectations for the call. Hey, this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to gather information. I'm here to make you an offer and hopefully buy your house. It's purchase manager, not property manager. So he's a purchase manager. That's the role that he's assuming inside this call.
Fantastic. So I verified the property with you already. So now, Robert, beside getting the right price for the property, which I understand is very important to you, but beside getting the right price for the property, what is another reason that you would consider selling this property?
Oh, it's
You see how I went in and I get motivation right away? Get motivation.
I've gotten a little older, and so yeah, I just need to get downsized to a place that I can maintain and keep up with.
Gotcha, Robert. You don't sound that old.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm 71.
Oh wow, amazing. Well,
All right. Well, I've actually done this too. Every now and then it's like it just kind of comes up where someone's age could be something. Listen, even when I've done it, I've come out of it feeling a little icky. Specifically when you say, hey, you don't sound that old, and then maybe you got someone who says, well, I'm 71, and how do you respond to that positively? Like, oh, you're young, or it's like, oh shit, you are a lot older than you thought. I thought you were in your 50s. You know, it's just probably something better to stay away from. Khang is very talkative, though, right? So this to him is very natural. Like for me, that would have been an awkward moment that I would have created. And I wouldn't have liked the way it made me feel in the conversation. And I would have been really concerned that the seller now is feeling the same way. I don't think Khang, for him, he's very talkative. He's very friendly, super humble guy, like I said at the beginning. So I don't think it's a big deal for him. That's just his personality. He's being himself right now. I've met him in person, and this is how he is all the time with every single person he talks to. So I don't think he thinks anything about it. And right now he's just being natural, which is what I always say I want everybody to do. Hey, be yourself, right? So let's see where he goes now. All right, he's got some motivation. So he's obviously doing this live. So he did a little bit of coaching there. Like, see how I go right from motivation? I feel like he could have gotten the motivation 2 questions quicker, but he did get there pretty quickly.
if just by the tone of your voice, if I were to guess, I would be guessing I'm speaking to someone in the early 60s. So good job for you on your health.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry. Now, Robert, basically,
Robert's not digging the fake rapport. Like I would love to be able to talk to a seller like Robert. Robert's very much the type of seller I like to talk to. I'm curious. He very much he sounds like I want to get to the brass tacks of things. So I'm going to be interested to see, does Khang get to the brass tacks, or does he continue to try to do his natural style where he wants to build some rapport and at the beginning and kind of become that friend relationship and to be the advocate for Robert, and then have this pretend bad guy over here that's making the low offer. I'm curious if Robert eventually at some point in time gives severe pushback to Khang on like the fake rapport and just says like, dude, what are we doing? Let's get to this.
so you would want to sell the property, so that way you want to downsize and buy something a little bit smaller, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Now, Robert, so when you do sell the property, are you planning to stay in the States or outside?
Well, that we haven't decided on yet.
Okay.
So.
So let me see here. Do you have a time frame, Robert? So let's just say we both can agree on a price that work for you and work for us. Do you know roughly when you like to sell and close on the property? I know that was a little awkward.
I need a couple of months to get everything, all my ducks in a row.
Sure. Okay. So if we both can agree on a price that work for you and work for us, with closing in the next 60 to 90 days or sooner, would that work for you?
Let me see. 90,
so you see how he said he needs a couple months? I'm trying to lock it up on a contract as long as I can.
I'd probably say more like 120 days.
Gotcha. Okay. So we would have to, if we do agree on something, I would have to set the closing date to be 120 days or sooner, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Great.
Yeah, so he's very much getting the 4 pillars, right? He wants to get the motivation. Now he's getting the timeline. We haven't talked about condition or price yet. I'm assuming price is going to be the last thing that he's going to want to talk about, right? So based off of the way that he's navigating this, because he's going the 4 pillars route, he's probably now going to go into condition to then see, like, all right, I need to understand the conditions so then I can make you my offer.
So I'm going to review some information on the property with you. Really quick, Robert. Once again, if there's anything that is wrong, please let me know, because obviously we base our offer on this information here. So it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,500 square feet. It has a basement.
Yes.
As far as in the basement goes, Robert, do you know if it's a finished or unfinished basement?
It's about I would say 80% finished.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, as far as in repair goes, Robert, I guess what we like to know is, what kind of repair, updates, or work do we have to assume that we need to do to the property after we buy from you? I know that was really funny.
Well, it needs finish work. There's a lot of, because I've done a lot of work already on it, and as a matter of fact, I'm installing new windows in the front living room and dining room.
Okay.
As we speak. So there's only like about 4 more windows that need to be replaced for the, to get rid of the single pane wood windows.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's very small windows.
Okay.
But most of it is kind of like you said, like I said, finish work, making it look good, basically. The kitchen's probably half completed. I did run gas in, so there's gas available to the house now.
Oh, nice.
And so I have a gas top and an electric convection oven underneath it with a granite top over it. So on that wall with new cabinets and things. The other side where the sink is would need a new countertop to match it, to make it look good in new counters.
Sure.
And so yeah, like I'm saying about finish work and stuff. And I did.
So what's going to be interesting here is he's definitely going that 4 pillars route. Like I said, he was going to get the condition next, exactly like I anticipated. He moved right into the condition. After this, he'll probably go into the offer and the price. He's probably going to dig a little bit deeper. I'm curious to see when the seller stops telling him about, like, hey, here's the upgrades, here's what I'm doing, and then, this is what the seller's, Robert's recap of the property is Khang then going to go into specifics, or is he going to make the assumptions off of what Robert tells him to make his offer? Because that could be a point of contention. Now, I will say he has loosened up Robert quite a bit right now. He's done a really good job. Robert now seems very relaxed. He's got him talking. Khang's doing a really good job of, like, sitting back and listening and letting the seller, like, build a story on what's going on with the property. So I really like where we are right now in this, considering the fact that we're going the 4 pillars route.
I did notice that the septic system is going to need to be, the drain field is going to need to be looked into.
Okay.
Just recently, if we do a couple loads of laundry, I noticed it backed up a little bit, but about 20, 30 minutes later, it drained down. So it's starting to, there's something out there. Moles, I got a lot of moles out in my drain field. So something's causing it to slowly go away. So.
Got it. Okay. Not a problem. Robert, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask you regarding the septic and the drain field. When was the last time the septic was inspected?
Well, we just had it pumped, I think just before winter.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But as far as inspected, they inspected it, the septic tank itself. Like I say, this house, I think, was built in 37. Somebody says it was built like in 40 something. But yeah, 37 or 38 is the original information that we got. This house was built in.
So again, now that's that specific question, right? Khang is going in and he said, well, about that septic tank, when was the last time it was inspected? This could be because it's in a location that Khang's done quite a few deals, and he knows that the septic tank could be a point of contention for his end buyers. So to me, that is a question coming from a very seasoned veteran wholesaler in the market in which he is doing this deal, right? The specific questions that he's asked so far are vitally important to a virtual wholesaler. Is the basement finished or unfinished? Tell me about this septic tank. When was it last inspected? Because these are going to be the questions that his end buyers are going to be asking. So I do like those specific questions that he's asked about the condition.
Gotcha. Okay, so built in 1937 or so. So at least we know we know that the septic's good. So the drain field is what needs to be looked into.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Beside that, Robert, I guess my question now to you is, do you know roughly what it will cost to like update the house and make it look modern again? Like, we're talking about like granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, tile bathroom, shower, just make it like, with all the bell and whistle.
Do you have your own work crew?
We typically do, yes.
Okay. Then I'm probably figuring between $50,000 and $70,000.
Okay, so 50 to 70K to rehab the house, make it nice again. And that
Okay, I will say this. Anytime I'm on a phone with a seller and they tell me a rehab budget that high, 50 to 70,000, I know for a fact that I'm talking to the right seller. So he's definitely talking to a motivated seller that knows that they have a property that is physically distressed that they need to sell on a discount. Okay? Because otherwise he wouldn't have said 50 to 70,000. He would have come back with some bullshit number like 15 to 20. That's a realistic number for them for that size of a house. 2,500 square feet, 50 to 70,000 in rehab. Considering the fact that he's already said he's done windows and some other updates, that's a very reasonable number by the seller.
including probably might have to redo the drain field.
The which? Say that again.
Yeah, Robert, so the 50 to 70K, is that just for the house itself, or is that also including maybe we might have to do the drain field as well?
Yeah, I think that would include the drain field.
Gotcha. Okay, so 70 to 50. Okay. And Robert, so what do you think? If we were to buy the house and rent it out, how much do you think we'll be able to get in rent?
I haven't looked into what rent things are, so I'm not up to date on all of that.
Sure. Okay.
I don't like asking that on owner-occupied houses. I have no problem asking that question on a tenant-occupied when you're talking to a landlord. They say, hey, it's rented out for $1,000. What do you think it could rent out for? Well, it probably could rent out for $1,250 or $1,300. I like asking that to an actual landlord. Owner-occupant, it's kind of an off-putting question because you're saying, hey, your home, specifically when you're talking to an elderly person, like this gentleman is 71 years old. He's selling his house. And then we just asked him, like, how much could your house rent out for? Like, you're taking his home that potentially he raised his children in. He's brought his grandkids to that, hey, we're going to turn it into a rental property. I don't like that. Also feels like this is an area where I don't know if this is going to be a rental property or not. It just doesn't sound like it. 2,500 square feet with a basement, a septic tank. Just those are screaming like non-rental property size and even location. I don't know what state this is in, so it just doesn't scream like a rental property to begin with. So I don't like that question so much.
I know the one house they're just building.
Do you see how I just let the seller talk? Like a lot of you interrupt the seller. Just let him talk.
Now, or whatever, and they're in the process of building 6 of them.
Okay.
The corner one just went for $1.3 million.
Oh, wow.
Sold. And the second one that's right next to it also sold for like over $1.3 million.
That's what I'm saying. These are $1 million houses. These are not rentals. Don't like that. I will say One thing that's interesting about Khang's style is that he repeatedly says the seller's name. And I asked him about that during the live. I said, why do you always say that? He feels like it's kind of showing like respect and attention to the seller, making them feel more comfortable. He says it a lot, and I don't really do that much. And I've kind of thought about it like, is that something maybe we should look into doing more? But the more I'm listening to it, I don't know that I don't like it. I don't know how I can put my finger on it. Maybe I can come back to this later in the call because we still got quite a bit to go on it. But there's just something about it that I wish he did it less. It feels like a nervous tick almost. Like it's not that he feels like it's necessary. It's just something he does. I don't even know if he realizes he's doing it as often as he does. Like every time the seller gets done talking, he's like, okay, so Robert, it's like his nervous tick to get to this is my next question. He hasn't fully thought about what the next question is, so he's saying their name real quick, and then he hits them with it. I think that's why I don't like it.
Wow. And those are new construction.
Yes.
Okay. And how far? And Robert, how far is that away from your house?
Maybe 70 yards.
Okay. Oh,
it's
close.
Across the street. Yeah, it's across the street, and just right there.
Wow.
Maybe a football field length. Maybe.
Sure. Okay. And is it similar square footage, bedroom and bathrooms and all that as well? It's just obviously because the only difference is that it's brand new.
Yeah, it's brand. They're brand new. The one has like a garage for a motorhome.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Built with it and everything like that. But yeah, they're luxurious homes. They really are.
Got it. Okay. And Robert, I guess how much are you hoping to get for your property?
Well, like I say, there's so many different
Here we go. Negotiating time.
Offers or not.
Make sure you show your boy King Kong some love.
So many different.
I need that emotional support,
Yeah, scenarios that I see on this thing. I see like Zillow, they were talking like $800 and something thousand for the whole property, and other ones, are like 750. So that type of a range, type of a thing, But then I have other friends that are going, well, with 5 acres and the way things are being built.
He haven't said much already. He hasn't said much.
So, there's so many different variants here.
I don't know. I kind of disagree. What I hear is we let Robert do a lot of talking, and now Robert's comfortable in the conversation. And so instead of coming out with his desired number, he's giving a range, which is what wholesalers do when they're on the phone and they get comfortable, and then at the end they give a range, right? So what he said is he's thinking somewhere between 700 to 800, but then he prefaces that by saying, well, some of his friends are saying that's crazy. At least that's what I think I heard. So feels to me like he's somewhere between 700 to 800,000. 800 he's probably taking, 700 he's probably thinking. That's probably where he wants to be. And then he's trying to push to convince Khang to make that $800,000+ offer.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Robert, now is there a mortgage that we need to pay off on the property?
Yeah, there's about 300. I think it's right at 300,000.
Okay, so about 300,000. And you're saying that the property is worth, according to Zillow, between 7 and 8. You said 7 and 8.
I think they're saying like 856. I think.
Oh wow!
I remember number 856.
Oh wow!
Somewhere in all my lookings and all of that. So yeah, it's because I got just 5 acres and the house, But they have. I don't know if they have all the updated because it's got a new roof on it.
Okay.
In 2000. 2020. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, we got a new roof on it. So.
All right. Well, I'm checking Zillow right now. So Zillow right now, Robert, they estimate at, so it said Zestimate 694,900. So about
Oh, I
700,
see.
so about $700,000 on the property. And
Okay.
go ahead.
Good. No. I said,
Yeah.
okay.
And they said the home value in that range is between 598 to 785. That's what they estimated the house price range in that kind of location. Do you know what the tax assessed value on it is?
The tax?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. We got a thing a little while ago, and I don't remember what that was.
Sure. Okay, not a problem. So, Robert, I mean, I guess let me ask you this, um like once the mortgage is paid off, like do you know roughly how much you're hoping to walk away with from the property?
Well, I do have, but naturally, just like everybody else, I
Yeah,
want the best I can get out of it.
of course. I understand. Now, Robert, let me share with you kind of a little bit about what our company do and what we offer. And like I said, once again, hopefully we both can come together to an agreement on a fair price that work for you and work for us.
So obviously much different style than how I navigate. He got a number out of the seller. He knows the condition. He knows the timeline. He did build some rapport at the beginning, the way that he builds rapport. Now he's going to go into the way that I like to build rapport, which is through being the expert in the conversation, through credibility. He's not going to walk him through. What I am curious about is I mean, I have seen him look at his computer screen a little bit. He obviously had Zillow pulled up. I'm wondering if he already had this pre-comp because I haven't really seen a whole lot of action from him, like moving a mouse around or looking or anything like that. I guess I can't see some of his hands. So I'm curious to see where he's going to come in with this offer, because he did kind of already explain that based off of Zillow's numbers, the property value would be worth a lot less than what the seller's probably thinking, than that 700,000 to 800,000. So he's going to now walk him through how their process works. And at some point in time, now he's going to have to say some number because he's gotten a number out of the seller. So it's going to be interesting to see. Trying to get another one out of him there. How much do you want to walk away with after the mortgage is paid? So it's going to be interesting to see. I want to see how he explains this process, because I think this is huge to sellers, right? The credibility of what this process is going to look like by selling the property at a discount to an investor instead of going through a realtor.
It doesn't always work. And I understand that, if the price doesn't make sense for you, there's no reason why you would sell it. And, us as an investor, if it doesn't make sense for us, there's no reason why we would buy it. So, yeah. So hopefully we can,
I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And hopefully we can come to something that's fair, that work for both. If not, I'm sure that we can go separate ways, and you can go ahead and find somebody else to sell the property to.
Little pull away.
So when we look at this, and our company, we're willing to buy the property in the as-is conditions. Regarding the repairs, the works, or the updates, or anything that needed to be done on the house, we're willing to come in, take over the property, buying it as is. And when you do move, Robert, you take whatever you want with you, whatever you don't want, you can leave it behind. We'll take care of it. Our whole goal is, when we buy a property, we want to make sure that we provide the homeowner, with the most stress-free sale as possible. So with that being said, Robert, do you know roughly how much you would like, obviously, to get for the property?
Well, no, like I said, I'm open to that. So just whatever you give a bid, and then I'll see if I can do it.
Gotcha. Okay. So based on the information I got here, Robert, you tell me if the girls got the information wrong or right. It seems like they're saying that you are looking to walk away with about 450 or so, correct?
Yeah, I was kind of looking at that, and then looking at other things, and then I started looking at other properties and
Sure.
other things like that, and I don't know if that's gonna do it or not. So
Right.
you know.
So again, this is a cold call lead. He already knew that the seller wanted 750. He was trying to see if he could get him to say that. And now, again, the seller is pushing for 800, right? This seller has been pushing for 800 for a solid 10 minutes at this point. Seller he's set on that. And I don't know where Khang is on this. Like, I really don't know if like we're way off on numbers or if that's in his wheelhouse and he's just trying to get a deeper number out of the seller. But it's going to be interesting to see if we are significantly below 750. It's going to be real interesting to see how this works out.
So you're thinking even with the 450 as a walk away, it's low for you. It's too low for you.
Yeah, I believe so. A little bit.
Got it. Okay. Now,
because I know that, you know, with the way things are going, and as fast as I see these $1 million homes, you know, selling, you know, the cost I understand is going to be to get permits and to get the things, you know,
right.
so the buildings and clearing out the I'm fully aware of all the requirements it's going to take and the monies that it's going to take to get this thing approved to put in about. You probably could put about maybe 5 homes on this thing. So 5 luxurious homes on this thing. So that's, you know, that's what I see with the road being down to one side of my property or a cul-de-sac.
I see what you're saying. So basically, Robert, so you're basing the value on your property based on that we can subdivide it, get 5 lots out of this plus the existing home?
Yeah, I believe so. You could probably maybe 4 more homes
okay.
besides the existing one. Yeah, because the front home here has, you know, takes up quite a bit with the barn that's there, and the garden. There's a garden in it, and there, you know, that. So the front property takes up, you know, about 200 feet of it. You know.
Gotcha. And Robert, do you know roughly how much it costs or how long it will take for us to actually go in there and buy and then subdivide it?
No, I haven't looked at that for 15 years, so I wouldn't have any idea.
Gotcha. And so here's kind of where we're at when we look at this property right here, Robert. For us, you know, that's definitely not our expertise because typically it takes a very long time and there's a lot of things that can come up during the process of subdividing it.
One thing I'll say about that question he asked there, because the more I thought about it, it reminded me of like in the Closers Olympics. There was one Closers Olympics where quite a few contestants asked the seller, like, so if I were to send you an offer right now for 100,000, what would happen next? And it always kind of just confused the seller where they're like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean it happens? Like, I don't like asking a seller a question that makes us seem like we don't know the process. And like right here where Khang says, you know, how long would it take for us to subdivide and with that process? I don't know. It makes me, if I were Robert, I'd be like, maybe I'm not talking to the right person. You know, maybe I need to go talk to the person that built those houses right across the street, 70 yards away, because they didn't have a problem. They figured out a way to buy that and build that $1 million house, and I've got 5 acres. I never want to give a seller a reason to have an objection, right? And that's what those questions kind of feel like. So I liked where we were going, and then like when that got brought up, I feel like this is like a momentary setback.
And, you know, we have gotten bit in the butt where we bought a piece of property where we thought that we can get X amount a lot. And then all of a sudden the city changed the code and things changes. And it just takes a lot of times and it costs a lot of capitals. You know,
oh, yeah,
obviously.
I know. I'm dealing with Bonnie Lake right now for church issues that we're
Oh,
gonna be
wow.
doing.
How did that go?
Well, it's you know, I mean, Bonnie Lake's.
I love that question. So he goes on like, hey, all this could happen with changes in code and all this. And the seller says, yep, that's happening to me right now with the church. I love the question of how did that go? That's essentially he heard pain and then he asked an open-ended question to dig deeper. And now we're getting more pain. So this can prove his point. It legitimizes his point on what he was saying right there.
A real tough thing to deal with. Their city ordinance and everything that's on that. There's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Right. Nope. And so basically, you would obviously understand kind of where we're coming from when we're looking at that point of view. But for us, when we look at this property, Robert, if we were to spend the $50,000 to $70,000 to rehab the property, do you think that your property, if we spent that kind of cash into it, would it be worth as much as the house that we're selling for, like what, 1.3?
No, I don't think it would sell for the 1.3 because
you see that, my friend.
It's an old house. And,
that's how you do it.
So
you want the seller to like work himself down.
Real close to $1 million.
Okay, so got it. So if we were to spend that 50 to, okay, then it'll be worth, okay. And you think that we can sell it for right around $1 million or so?
So I do like that question, and I love his response. Looking at the YouTube, you see that? That's how you do it. I love that energy from Khang. Oh, I love all of the energy that Khang, just it oozes off of him. But that's a great question, right? Hey, this new build sold for 1.3. If we put our 50 to 70 into this, are we going to be worth 1.3? Because, I mean, the seller knows. Every seller knows, like, my house built in 1940 is not going to be, comparable to this new build. So he's now opened up and said, yeah, it's going to be worth $1 million. All right. So if that's the case, we know we have to be at least be getting this in the 600s. So my feeling is Robert wants 800. He's going to think about 700. At least 5 to 10 minutes ago, if Khang had made him an offer for 700, he would have thought about it. Now I know Khang needs this in the 6s. How is he going to? Can he get the seller to talk himself down? Okay, right? This seller is motivated, but the price is wrong. This is the most common type of seller that you are going to talk to. In the 4 buckets of sellers, this is the most common. Motivated, wrong price. He's educating him right now. He's letting the seller talk about how the numbers don't work. Some point in time, he's going to have to reverse engineer those numbers to really be like, yeah, I mean, this is why we have to be in those 6s.
Yeah, that's what that would be a guesstimate of what I am, but I'm not in the business.
Sure.
I'm a mechanic.
Auto?
No, aviation.
I see. Wow. Gotcha. So, I mean, Robert, here's another thing that I can get a company to do, and typically we don't do this for every property, but I mean, it might make sense for you and it might not. So I can get my, if I can get my team manager to take care of all the closing costs and all the fees. So this is covering all the closing costs, including the excise tax, the transfer tax, the title insurance, the escrow fee, no realtor commission. If there is any it'll fall on us. We'll have to be the one who take care of it, pay off your existing mortgage, taking over the property as is. I guess my question now to you, Robert, is like, what is the least you would consider as a walkaway net to you would be if we pay for all the closing costs, all the fees, and taking over the property as is?
I never like using the word least just naturally, like as a human, it's like, did you just ask me what's like the lowest? It's like if you say what's the best price you could do for me. That's why I like saying that, because it's like you're cutting me a deal and you still feel good about it. It's a win for you and you're making it a win for me. But when you say, what's the least you're going to sell this thing for? I don't know. I don't like that. I would just one little word, right? Small little tweak. He basically hit my closing line. It just, that one little word is a huge difference in my opinion.
Well, yeah, that's like I say, give me an offer.
Okay. So I guess, so are you open to anything that's less than the 450 that you mentioned as a walkaway, or no?
Well, no. I wouldn't be interested in anything less than that. That's for sure.
I see. So the only way that you would move forward to selling your property is if you were to get that 450 as a walkaway to you, right?
Well, we're higher, yes.
Okay.
So 450 plus the 300 mortgage. So when he's saying 450, that's really 750. So, and Robert just hit him again. Well, that's the least. Like, I'd like more, right? Man, if the $1 million is really the ARV and we need to put 70 into it, that makes it really tough. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, maybe the $1 million is being super conservative. Maybe it's higher. I just don't see how 750 could work on it.
So,
like I say, if that was the offer, then I would have to sit down and think about it and write out things, and like I'm a Christian man, so I'd have to pray about it. And
sure.
The directions in that aspect is also
Sure. I understand. So, Robert, here's kind of where we're at, and obviously we would love to make this work for you and work for us as well. But I just want to break down the number with you really quick, just because we basically go with what the number is, because numbers.
Yeah, of course, I understand that.
Yeah. So, because the number doesn't lie. So if we do okay, so if we were to come in and buy the property for $750,000, and we offer to pay for all your closing costs and all your fees. And the reason I do this, Robert, is I want you to kind of understand like where we're coming from as like an investor. So if we were to buy the property at $750,000, typically it would cost us, I would say, another 5% or so in closing cost fees, and we would have to get some hard money loan and all that to get this done. So if I just add 5% on top of that, so 750 plus 5%. So now that would so we would be out of pocket right around, I would say, 790 or so, roughly.
Okay.
And then we would spend another $70,000 to fix the property up. So if I add another $70,000, so now we would be at 857. So we at 857. So now we would have to turn around. We would have to, obviously list the property and sell it again. So we would now end up with a whole new set of closing costs. That's including now we have to pay realtor commission. That could be another 5 to 6%, plus all the closing costs that we have to pay now as a seller. That typically between another 4 to 5%. So if I take $1 million minus, roughly, I would say, Robert, based on we doing this for 12 years, I'll just go with 13%. So if I take 1 million,
13% is a little bit high. But this sounds like Washington State. I heard him say excise tax. I know that's where he lives. So the excise tax does increase quite a bit there, but 13% seems pretty steep. But I love the education of the numbers, this breakdown. I think this is this is how you get that bucket of a seller, right? Motivated, wrong price. This is how you get them to understand, right? Your price is not matching your motivation. And here's the reason why. This is not going to work. You're motivated to sell to an investor, but it's not going to work with these numbers. I love this breakdown, these numbers by Khang.
Minus 13%. So that put us down at $870,000. So for us, it's just that this is just too tight of a number for us to make it work. Like if anything goes wrong, if the construction takes longer than normal, if the market changes, it's probably going to take us, 5 to 6 months to really get in and get out of the property. And for us to go in there and with this there's really no margin. We basically break even.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that you can understand why at that price it wouldn't work. Now, if you would consider something less, Robert, then I would love to present you with kind of like what our offer is that I got from my finance department. If you want to hear that.
Sure. Tell me what your financial department says.
So
I don't think Robert buys the finance department. I don't buy it. Where did the finance department come from? He said team manager earlier. Now we got the finance department. Man, come on, Khang. Don't do the finance department. Oh, man, I got to sit through it now.
So for us on our end, like for us to make this work, and hopefully, like I said, work for you, but it might not seem like it, we would have to be, so the walk away to you would be $365,000 in your pocket, and that's with us. Yeah, so $365,000 net to you in your pocket. We cover all the closing costs, all the fees. Would that work for you, Robert?
No. Yeah, like I said, no. Yeah, I like them continuing to work on the place and do
Sure.
the things and stuff. So, but I understand where you're coming from. So no hard feelings in that aspect. I understand business is business, and you got the numbers there in front of you, and you can't make it work. I'm fine with that. So
this is the reverse to me of the finance department, right? First of all, I don't think Robert believes there is a finance department. He seems like a pretty shrewd, man that's been doing business for a while, and I think he kind of knows when games are being played. But it also has always made it seem like, the argument has been, the reason why I do the finance department, RJ, is so I'm an advocate for the seller and I'm the good guy and there's a bad guy. Well, the flip side of it is if I'm the seller, it makes it a lot easier for me to just tell you no, because I'm not even saying no to the guy that said the offer. It's just you're a little messenger boy. All right, Khang, no, it's not going to work, bro. It's not. Sorry, numbers don't work. I'm not even arguing with the guy that's giving me the numbers. And I really don't think Robert believes it because he said you have the numbers right there in front of you. Also, how did the finance department come up with that number when Khang's been the one on the phone the entire time?
Yeah, and
I'm in no hurry. I'm retired. I don't need, I don't need to sell, and my payments are lower than anything I can get if I did sell or buy a new one.
Right.
So basically, I'm sitting pretty, basically.
Right,
so,
because your interest rate must be what, at that 2-3%?
Yeah, 3, I think 3.2 or something.
Nice.
3
okay.
Something,
yeah. And once again,
so you could go the sub 2 seller finance hybrid route, right? He could do a sub 2 seller finance hybrid with a novation in reality. Or he could just go straight novation route. But he could basically, when I say sub 2 seller fi novation route, it would essentially be like, well, I guess it wouldn't even be a novation, it'd be a wholesale at that point. He could basically sub 2, make him some monthly payments, do some light rehab to it, and then list it for less, still work out a spread for him. But again, these numbers, I mean, even what he offered him there, what did he offer him? 665. I wonder if he thinks that he can get a little bit higher than $1 million on this. Seems like he had that number in mind. But if he were able to do the sub 2 seller finance hybrid there it could potentially alleviate some of those costs that he was talking about. But it sounds to me like the seller is going to need that cash to make a move. Like he needs the 450, because what he's saying is I've looked at how much stuff costs. So it's almost like he's looking to go buy another property for 450. That's why he's not willing to go below that at all. So curious to see where he takes this moving forward, because it seems like Robert is pretty hard pressed on like we're not going below 450.
And Robert, like I figured that price it's obviously it's not going to work for you and it's not going to make sense. Now, we do have another options, Robert, and let me know if you would consider something like this. Are you open to listing your property on the market, but without you paying the realtor commissions, without you paying the closing costs? And what if we can get your property sold as is? Is that something that you would be open to?
Sold it like as it is, you mean, like on
Yeah,
the market?
correct. So
right now?
yes, because like our company, we recently have what's called the home buyer program, where if we make an offer to obviously a property owner and it doesn't work, we would provide them with this free service, which means that we will list your property right on the market. We will pay for all the closing costs, all the fees. We will also pay for the realtor commissions, and we will make sure that we will get you that net amount that you want, which is that $450,000 net to you in your pocket, not a penny less. Any costs that comes up, our company will be the one who's going to take care of it. The only thing that we ask from you is that it seems like you have plenty of time for us, because that's the only thing. If you're okay with that 20 days closing or so, we pay for all the marketing costs and everything like that, and we can get you that price. Is that something that you would be open to doing with us, Robert?
Well, I mean, that sounds like a good thing, but yeah, I'm not in a position to do that at this point.
Gotcha. Okay.
Maybe in a few more months, but so keep me in your mind and on that aspect, and I we'll see how the market goes. We'll see how things happen and stuff. We'll just maybe do things in the future.
It's a pretty good little rundown of doing a novation there that Khang had. I'm always curious when we break it down that way, right? He says, hey, we're going to list it. We're going to guarantee you your 450. And we're going to pay all the closing costs and stuff like that. At what point in time is the conversation had with the seller on, okay, we're going to try to make, $50K on top of this, or $30K, or whatever the spread is, because of the way that it was explained. I do like the way that it was initially kind of the pitch for it that Khang had. But the 120 days seems like that would be perfect time frame for the novation. And it seems like the timeline now has become the objection. So Khang should be able to be like, well, realistically, we got the process started now. That 120 days could be perfect for what we're talking about.
Sounds good. Yep. That's the thing, that the only thing that's obviously part of my job is that the company want to make sure that I present the client with all the options that they can, and they get to choose. And I appreciate the time that you giving us and the opportunity you giving our company, Robert. And I understand at this time, both of the offer that we have made for you is not going to work for you. And I appreciate that. And if anything changes on your end, Robert, please give us a call back, okay? If you think about it and you'll be like, hey, you know what, Khang, I think this might work, don't hesitate to call me back. Love to talk to you more about it, and then kind of give you more a detail exactly how everything works, and then we can go from there, okay?
Okay.
All right, Robert.
That sounds like a good deal.
Yep,
right.
I appreciate your time so much, and have a wonderful rest of your night, and stay warm, okay?
Okay, thanks. You
Yep,
too.
thanks, Robert. Bye-bye.
All right, so very interesting phone call, because I think at the end of the day, the numbers were just not going to work out, but for either Khang or Robert. Robert was pretty dead set on what his numbers were. My assessment of Khang is he is a savvy professional. He's been doing this for quite a bit of time. You can see he definitely has his style. He has his process. and he has a rhythm and a cadence within it, right? Things that I noticed, he's definitely very much about the 4 pillars. He definitely the nervous tick of saying the seller's name a lot. I think he has a reason as to why he does it, but I think it's definitely more for like him to be comfortable and kind of think about what he's about to say on the next question. That's what it kind of feels like to me. The objection that came there at the end with the novation offer, I feel like Khang could have pushed a little bit harder there on explaining the benefits of the novation for the seller and could have potentially gotten it locked down there, because he was at that point in time, he's kind of giving him what he wants. I mean, he's saying, okay, we'll give you what you want at 450. He could, I mean, if he felt comfortable at maybe even a little bit higher, he could have done that. Overall, I love Khang to death. We have very different styles. So there's a lot of feedback for me to give. I mean, my God, we're almost at an hour long in this video. I think Khang is definitely a closer. Obviously, we didn't get to see him, which means I have to do another Khang call because I want to see him actually close the deal. And I like the process of when we get to where we got there and we agree, how does the close take place? I want to see Khang close the deal because there's a lot to take away during those moments. A lot of really good in there, some really good open-ended questions, right? When the seller brought up the issues that he had with the church development project, he said, tell me what happened there, right? Really digging deeper to get. He did a really good job with awkward silence and listening to the seller at different points in time in the conversation. So, Khang, I love you to death, man. Hope you tune in and watch this video. Listen, at the end of the day, 2 different styles. At least he has that cadence, that rhythm down to a pat. You can see he's done this thousands and thousands of times. I'm so nitpicky on certain little things, right? Least, best. Would have loved to have seen that word change there. But Khang, love you to death, man. We'll have to do another video. We're going to have to do another reaction video with King Khang. I got to see him close the deal. I got to give him see that signed contract. Guys, if you like this video, make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you know of another video that you want me to break down and do a reaction, send it to rj@titaniumprops.com. I'm looking for more videos to do reactions to. I don't want to watch too many of these videos prior to doing the reaction. I like to keep it natural and fluid and actually give my true reaction. So if you guys know of videos out there for me to react to, please email to rj@titaniumprops.com. We'll see you next time on the King Closer Reacts. Thank you, guys.